Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have to talk about the hurricanes. We have to discuss all the changes that are now currently going on, and one change on one ship that was a specialty cruise, a special journey, and the actual destination that was so special is the only one they're not going to. So first off, we just had hurricanes just come right down the East Coast. It went over Florida. It affected a lot of cruise lines. Remember Tony and Jenny, they were stuck out at sea for one of their cruises. Well, believe it or not, that hurricane turned into a tropical storm and then headed off up into the area of Greenland. Well, that just happened to coincide with the Carnival Legends 14-day extraordinary journey cruise with 2 stops in Greenland. That was the highlight of this cruise. Carnival doesn't go to Greenland very often, and so it became very, very popular. Well, as it turns out, Greenland doesn't have too many major cruise ports there, and most of them are tender ports where you have to take a tender from the ship to shore. Well, if there's any kind of rough seas whatsoever going on, those tender boats just can't go. And it became evident to the captain and the Carnival Cruise Line itself that the weather in that area on the days they were supposed to arrive just was going to be unsafe for passengers. So they decided on Tuesday to not even head in that direction. That's right, they didn't even head in that direction. Instead, they made different changes to stop, I believe, in Corner Brook and another stop in Canada. Those stops will still take place. It's very disappointing for the passengers on board, and a lot of them are very disgruntled, a lot of them are very upset. They said it became less of a Greenland priority getting us there as more to, well, we're just going to go to Canada now. Now, one of the big problems also for those passengers is the fact that because of the late changes, many of those ports, shore excursions are limited to begin with, and they already had ships scheduled there. It's Canada cruising time of season this right now, and there's none left. A lot of the excursions are sold out or very, very limited. So by them saying, hey, you can jump into the Canadian culture and see all this stuff in Canada, well, a lot of it is sold out, and they're having a hard time finding excursions for the people on the Carnival Legend. At least that's the report that I'm getting from some of the people on board. Now, Carnival did come out and give everybody on board a $400 non-refundable onboard credit per stateroom. Not per person, per stateroom. Now that does mean that they have to use it by the end of the cruise, which would be the 16th so they have 6 more days now to get, spend that money. They can spend it on anything, other shore excursion, drink packages, souvenirs, spa treatments, specialty dining, whatever they want to spend, it's going to come off that money, but they have to use it before the end of the trip. It's not going to be refunded back to their credit card. A lot of people were upset with that part, saying, well, fine, we couldn't go there, you're upset. Well, why did you make it non-refundable? Well, quite simply, $400 in cash going back to you is much more of a loss of money than the money and the markup that they get if you buy things on the cruise ship, right? It doesn't cost them as much to give you a massage as it does that, a $200 massage doesn't really cost them $200. It costs them 30 cents in oil and the salary of the masseuse. That's it. So you get the picture. It's like when you go to the theater and you buy $9 popcorn. Well, that popcorn inside that bucket definitely didn't cost the theater $9, right? That's where they make their money. That's why it's non-refundable. They want you to spend it on board because in reality, you're probably costing the cruise line 25% of that $400 they're offering you back. I know it's disappointing. A lot of people upset, but hey, You don't want to be on a tender boat in very rough seas to begin with. They won't let you off at the cruise port. The cruise port will tell the ship you're not allowed to do it. It's unsafe. The cruise line really doesn't have a whole lot of choice. And it's a hurricane. Unfortunately, hurricanes happen. It's happening right now. There are numerous ships going this week in the Caribbean. For instance, 4 ships alone have changed their itineraries already, even though Hurricane Lee hasn't arrived yet. It's still 600 miles off the coast of San Juan. Well, the Adventure of the Seas, the Harmony of the Seas, the Wonder of the Seas, and the Vision of the Seas have all changed their itineraries for their upcoming sailings to stay as far away from the hurricane and keep their guests more comfortable instead of going into rough seas and perhaps getting people seasick, etc. They want people to have a more enjoyable cruise. They'd rather change the itinerary than have you complaining that everyone's sick on board, right? And how the weather's horrible, etc. You brought us into a hurricane where you're endangering us. They're not going to do any of that. They're going to avoid it at all costs. So Hurricane Lee is slowly approaching the States. We should know Tuesday or Wednesday when it starts to head north. The sooner it starts to head north, the better. That means it has less and less chance to hit the eastern coastline as well as the Maritimes. So that was the big concern. And for people who are on my group cruise that's leaving not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, well, the good news is it's supposed to hit, if it hits the Maritimes at all, it's supposed to hit the Maritimes that weekend. So it should be past us, and we should have hopefully no issues whatsoever on our cruise heading up in that direction. Fingers crossed that's the way their modeling works, and that's the way that the actual hurricane goes. Because, but they're, like I said, they will always err on the side of caution and keep people safe. So if you're sailing anywhere in the Caribbean right now, or next week, if you're heading into up the eastern coastline, perhaps to Canada, or on a transatlantic out of New York, keep an eye on the Hurricane Lee that's coming into the section, because they don't know when it's going to change. There is a huge front right now over Canada and eastern United States, and that is possibly forcing the hurricane to keep further out into the Atlantic Ocean, which is really good news for everybody living on the coast and really good news for everybody looking to cruise. Well, I hope you appreciate this update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.